Good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar on Zoom. This is our weekly webinar. Monday, it is 9:15 if you're joining us from Asia. If you're joining us, so good evening. If you're joining us from the United States, 9 a.m., good morning. And if you're joining us from anywhere in Europe, it's approximately midday, a little bit after, so good afternoon. Thank you so much for being with us today. We have a terrific meeting planned for you. We're going to be talking about the new dōTERRA chemistry wheel. And this is something that actually came out in one of the magazines about 6 or 8 months ago, maybe even as long as a year ago. And I'm not sure that everybody really understood it. Dr. Hill was very gracious to go over the wheel with us one more time during convention in great detail. And I think that's why I wanted to make sure that we had a chance today to get online, to see the wheel, and to truly understand it. I think one of the challenges that we all face is that when we talk to other people, we get nervous, or perhaps we've used something that's worked for us in the past, and then when we begin to talk to other people, we get flummoxed, or someone says, I don't like the way that oil smells. I don't want to use that one because my husband doesn't like it, or my child doesn't like it, or worse yet, it didn't work for me. What else can I use? And those are very important considerations as we begin to share essential oils with our friends and family. And my hope for you is that once we get off this call, you're going to do a little bit of experimentation with the new chemistry wheel and really begin to investigate how it can work for you, and as you continue to share oils. For those of you who are new to this call, my name is Elena Jordan. Thank you so much for having gotten on today. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay. There we go. Let's shrink this down. There we go. Okay, and let's play. Okay, so today is actually a two-part series. I will not be covering part 2 next week. Next week, I'm going to be talking about Siberian fir and copaiba. The following week, I'm going to be talking about the October monthly specials. And then in 3 weeks, and I'll be sending out notifications for this, we'll be talking about what Dr. Hill recommends, part 2. But today is how to use the new dōTERRA chemistry wheel. So first off, we want to say thank you to our Blue Diamond team. For those of you leaders who are on the call, if I've gotten this wrong, please correct me. And I already see, I think, one mistake on here. But congratulations to our Rising Blue Diamonds. As I said, I'm Elena Jordan, Elizabeth Ho, Hong and Shuli, Sang Louis, Wen Wei, and Lorinda Walker. Our Rising Diamonds, Karen Johnson, Kat, Sri Malati, Denise Wendeman, and Nicole Tay. Our Rising Platinums, Suan B, Joycelyn Chua, Sihan Lau, Sandra Lee, Bean Hu Lim, Carmen Tan, Nicole Tan, Alan Tay, Heather Weimer, David Yap, and Michelle Young. Congratulations, and thank you so much for all of your hard work. Thank you also to our Rising Golds, Melanie, Sarita, Bryce, Kakheng, Joyce, Sun Kun, Marie, Jeng Jeng, Agnes, Lydia, Wei, Yok Mei, Sue, Anne, Sylvia, Laura, Lynn or Haselina, Sadun, Kathleen, Lee Vern, Pui Hoon, Shirley, Joyce Lynn, Telia, and Vinci. Thank you so much for your very hard work, and all that you do each and every day to make this team a really vibrant and growing group. So I want to talk to you a little bit about the ideas contained herein. For those of you who don't know, we have a wonderful gentleman who is one of the partners and owners of dōTERRA. His name is Dr. David Hill. He is the founding executive and chief medical officer and he's on the scientific committee. For many years, Dr. Hill has utilized the benefits of essential oils in modern health practices as a physician. He is well known throughout the world as an expert in essential oils and integrative medicine. Dr. Hill partners with physicians, scientists, and hospitals around the world defining and establishing the medical integration and use of essential oils in modern health practices for individual use. He guides advances in essential oil science through a number of top university and research affiliations, providing more in-depth understanding for essential oils and their use. He's a frequent guest on many radio and television shows and has authored a number of books and other publications. Dr. Hill's greatest joy is found in educating and empowering others and his family to take control of their own health. So Dr. Hill was a primary speaker at the convention this year. I love Dr. Hill. I've met him many, many times. He is actually a very humble man, very thoughtful, very kind. And when you listen to him speak, he sounds, even though he's speaking to 30,000 people, it sounds as if he's speaking directly to you. And he has a wonderful, gentle way about him. I am very humbled to be able to know that he's looking out for me and for all of us, and always looking for better solutions for us. And he is a wonderful leader, and we're so very grateful that he's for all that he does. So thank you, Dr. Hill. And this talk today is based on the presentation that he did at convention this year. He did several different presentations, but this is just one of the ones that he did, and I wanted to go over it with you. So as I said before, when we first get started in dōTERRA, people will often challenge us and what we do. So there's still a body of evidence that says, though, that essential oils work, and they work effectively. We are defining quality, and we're also setting a standard for everyone else in the industry. When we get, troubled perhaps when we work through our businesses or we make recommendations for people, if we don't necessarily understand biology and human physiology and how they work with essential oils or how essential oils work with them. Your own experience, you need to trust your own experience, because it is a validating process. As you begin to try and err perhaps, make mistakes and have successes, you can honestly pass on that word to other people. So your own experience is extremely valuable. But there is some basic chemistry that essential oils have that's important for us to know, and some basic facts about essential oils that we also need to know if we're going to become more powerful, more effective, and more efficient in what we do. So let's get started. Okay, so I want you to remember a couple of things. The first things are, oils are biologically active. What does that mean? It means that they interact with enzymes on the surface of the cells, and they also work independently of the framework of your body. So for example, oregano can destroy a microbe without any assistance from the body. So whether you take the oregano and you get a topical effect because you put it on your skin, or you're taking it internally, oregano does not require any special enzymes or processes of the body to begin to attack different cells. And that's why essential oils are extremely important as agents of change in the body. Oils are also selective, so they are active at the surface of cells and have specific cellular targets. So let's talk about that first, and then we'll talk about a little bit about selectivity. So, well, actually, let's talk about selective first. I'm going to jump over number 2 and go to number 3. Sorry. So, oils are selective in that they can cause differentiated outcomes in the body. So what does that mean? When we take, let's go back to our example of oregano, if we place it on our skin, it may actually cause us to get rid of a foot fungus or another topical infection that we have. If we're able to take it internally in a capsule perhaps, we may see that it helps us with cold or flu. People also report that oregano can be great for digestion. So oregano is smart in that it is differentiating the outcome that needs to happen in the body, and it actually is seeking out the problem area in the body and then causing the best effect. We're just beginning to understand the pathways in the body in which essential oils work. They can be self-sustaining and also repairing to the body. Oils like frankincense, lemongrass, clove, or thyme can be taken on a daily basis to sustain good health and vibrant health and they can also be used when we need to repair. And the essential oils, thankfully, know when they get they are ingested exactly what their job is and how they need to get to work. So oils are active at the surface of cells and have specific cellular targets. So what do we mean by that? When they're active at the surface of the cells means that they can actually swim around between cells and have a specific target, means that they can work on a specific cell area. So they're not just blanketing the entire body. They can actually do what I'll call a seek and destroy mission, depending on what's troubling you at a single time. We also want to remember three other things: that essential oils are lipid soluble. So what is lipid soluble basically means that essential oils are penetrable through membranes in the body, like the blood-brain barrier, the cell membrane, and the skin. So it's important for us to recognize that because essential oils are small in molecular size and weight, they can easily pass through these difficult barriers. As we know, for example, fatty oils like olive oil are actually fairly difficult to pass through the skin and tend to leave the skin greasy and just settle on the top of the skin. Why? Because their molecular size is large. We love essential oils because of their molecular size and weight, and it just proves to us how important it is to use something for general health that's able to pass through all the different membranes in the body. So you're ingesting essential oils, perhaps in a capsule, they're able to get into the cells. If you're applying them to the skin, they can actually get through the skin and then through the cell membranes. And we talk about applying essential oils at the base of the skull or at the back of the neck near the brain stem, you are actually allowing those essential oils to pass through those various membranes and eventually pass the blood-brain barrier. Super interesting and really fascinating, because there are many things that we apply to our skin that cannot do that. It's reasonable to expect the outcomes you are desiring because essential oils are different than pharmacology. So you may actually expect a certain outcome, and it seems that it wouldn't work in that way, but it actually does. So I'm going to give you the example of Digest Zen. Digest Zen is one of those amazing oils that if you have a tummy ache, you can actually use it in 3 different ways, and usually any one of those 3 ways will work. So you can inhale the essential oil and actually relax the muscles of the peristaltic muscles so that you begin to not feel the cramping and the intensity of a stomach ache. You can apply the essential oils onto the stomach directly and also get relief from whatever stomach upset you may have, or you can ingest Digest Zen. So we're getting, interestingly enough, we're getting powerful outcomes that we would not necessarily expect by just using a single oil to target the same problem. Cell signaling is very powerful, yet people still think the effect may be a placebo. It is not a placebo, folks. And the research that's being done at many area hospitals and research centers and by doctors and scientists is proving again and again, not only that essential oils work, but that we can replicate their effects each and every time. We cannot explain, however, how they operate in their entirety, not just in an individual cell, but that will come, and we're certainly working toward that outcome. So as for cell signaling, an essential oil can provide benefit even when there is physiological compromise. So essential oils can provide benefit if your body is not feeling well. But the greatest benefit is when we learn to use them in a sustaining model. By cell signaling, we basically mean that by adding an essential oil, the cells begin to signal each other properly, or they can cause cell apoptosis, which is cell death, an important thing when we're talking about things like cancer or other diseases where we do want to get rid of cells that have mutated in one way or another. So I'm going to talk to you quickly about 2 different let's call them frameworks of essential oils, and then how they work and how they're going to teach us how to use this wonderful new chemistry wheel. So the first one, let me give you a little bit of an introduction about the chemistry wheel. The dōTERRA oil chemistry wheel is a tool designed to help individuals better understand the chemistry behind essential oils. In understanding the basic chemistry of each oil, individuals can more fully understand when and how to use the oils to achieve a desired benefit. So I know all of you took chemistry when you were in high school. I don't know if I have any high school students on the phone. I only have my son who hasn't taken chemistry yet in high school. He's actually just starting it. But if you have taken chemistry, you know a little bit about what I'm going to talk about. If you took organic chemistry because you were pre-med major and you went into any of the health fields, you probably listen to this talk and think, she doesn't know what she's talking about. But for the rest of us who probably took high school chemistry quite a while ago and need a bit of a refresher, this is an easy lesson in chemistry and hopefully a very beneficial one that you'll quickly understand and be able to use. So how the wheel is organized. The wheel is divided into two sides. The first side is monoterpenes, or oils that have a 10-carbon backbone, and sesquiterpenes, oils that have a 15-carbon backbone. The oils are then further organized by functional groups, with the top 1 or 2 chemical constituents listed under each oil. The key groups are alcohols, phenols, aldehydes, and ketones, esters, and oxides. And I'm going to give you plenty of examples of each and every one of those groups before we move on and we actually look at the wheel. Finally, the oils are grouped according to their shared key properties. The shared key properties provide a starting point for understanding how to use the oils. The combination of these different groupings enables individuals to begin to understand the characteristics and properties of dōTERRA's amazing essential oils. Okay, so let's get started right away with monoterpenes. That's where I'm going to start because those are the oils that have the 10-carbon backbone. Okay, so monoterpenes are generally metabolized quickly and can be highly effective. They have 2 5-carbon chains hooked together. This little picture of this man, and you're going to see him a couple of times in this presentation. It was hard for me to block him out, was as a result of me looking at the, taking photographs of the screen when I was actually watching the slide presentation. So these are the smallest of the terpenes in the essential oil family, and it's important when we talk about small molecular size and weight. They are readily accessible to the body, but it also means that they are metabolized quickly and can be highly volatile. That means there's a great opportunity for repetitive use. So we want to think of these as metabolized quickly and highly volatile. And volatile obviously got blocked out by our friend there. He's doing hand signals for people who are hearing impaired. Fast acting means that we can apply them and expect an immediate response. Oils like grapefruit, frankincense, juniper berry, cypress, and melissa can be applied quickly onto the body and see an immediate response. Oils with high levels of monoterpenes, like grapefruit and frankincense, can be used daily and can be used repeatedly throughout the day. Great opportunity, again, for repetitive usage. And we want to think of these as fast-acting if we are suffering from something that's troubling us, or something that is extremely important that we get resolved quickly. So monoterpenes are important to us because they're going to be fast-acting. Sesquiterpenes, on the other hand, demonstrate a higher metabolic potential and may be much longer lasting. They are focused and targeted. The ability of the essential oil, this allows the essential oils to have secondary and tertiary effects. So what does that mean? So when we look at oils like cedarwood, patchouli, vetiver, ginger, and ylang-ylang, it means that they're not going to be as fast-acting, but it means that they're going to be more durable on the body. So I actually use several of these oils on a regular basis, especially ylang-ylang, ginger, vetiver, and cedarwood. I don't use patchouli as much, But I will tell you, when I apply the oils to my body, I can feel not only the effects of them over a longer period of time, I can actually smell them for a longer period of time, which is why many of these oils are actually used in the perfume industry as base notes. A base note is something that stays with the body, lingers, and continues to provide scent. But there's a real molecular and chemical reason why we want to use these types of essential oils on our body when we're looking for some sort of a physical effect. They will stay with us, and they're going to be much more long-lasting. They also may change our metabolism. So when we talk about ginger, we can talk about actually speeding up our metabolism and perhaps helping us with weight loss. When we talk about cedarwood, we can talk about applying it to the feet and having it keep us asleep for the entire night. Vetiver can do the same thing. Ylang-ylang can be a libido enhancer. If we're looking for something that's going to stay with us and not evaporate right away, these are the sesquiterpenes are the oils that you want to look at. So the longer the carbon chain, the longer acting, the more potential for secondary and tertiary effects. Okay, so now that we know the two backbones, the sesquiterpenes and the monoterpenes, we want to look at some of the functional groups. The functional groups actually attach to the backbone. So think of the backbone like the spine, and now we're attaching, let's call them like the ribs. We're attaching the ribs to the backbone so that we can have a skeletal structure that's strong and we can understand the effects of what essential oils do. So the first one I'm going to show you are alcohols. So alcohols are calming to the tissues. They are cleansing and help to eliminate environmental threats and uplifting to the mood. They also support healthy immunity. Oils in this category include sandalwood, basil, rose, marjoram, and geranium. Alcohols can soothe and calm the tissues. They have great cleansing properties, and they're uplifting to the mood and support healthy immune response. So we want to make sure when we're looking at the alcohols, we're thinking calming. When we're looking at combining oils, we're looking at using two oils together. The chemistry, the chemical structure of the oils is going to be important as we combine oils as well. The next functional group I'm going to talk about are the phenols. Phenols are actually another type of alcohol that are attached to a benzene ring. They include things like oregano, clove, and thyme. They have great antioxidant and cell protecting qualities. They provide soothing relief to muscles and joints and strong immune support. They are directed, targeted, and focused, and they are strong cell protectors. Now, all of you have used these three oils, I'm sure, with great effect. You've also used them in combination, things like oregano and thyme together, or perhaps clove and thyme, or clove and oregano. We all know the benefits of the phenols. We want to keep that in mind when we're talking about targeted effects and terrific immune support. The next functional group I'm going to talk to you about are aldehydes. Okay, so aldehydes, these fall into the same sort of category. We want to protect our immune system from environmental threats. Things like cassia, lemongrass, cinnamon, cilantro, and melissa. We these oils can be calming to the body. They can support healthy circulatory system and digestive systems, and also can be targeted but with slightly broader effects. So by committing some of this basic information to memory, you yourself can overcome a number of obstacles. We think sometimes we know exactly what to do, and if it doesn't work, we abandon the process. So learning how to use essential oils from different categories can give you a variety of options. So we've learned already, we've talked about the alcohols, the phenols, and the aldehydes, and now I'm going to give you a quick look at something that you can do actually together. So in blending, these are actually our recommendations of Dr. Hill. He says apply 2 drops of oregano, which we already know is a phenol, and 2 drops of lemongrass, which we all already know is an aldehyde, to create proper joint function and support, proper joint function and comfort. Apply 2 drops of frankincense, which you know is an alcohol, to 2 drops of marjoram, which is anybody want to tell me? Also an alcohol, and 3 drops of wintergreen to provide relief to tense and stressed muscles. Apply clove and frankincense in equal quantities to soothe gums and mouth discomfort. So we've got a lot of different ways to combine essential oils, and we're going to continue to talk about how we can blend them ourselves and how some of the blends that doTERRA already has, the pre-blended ones, work in together to give us the greatest effect. Okay, so our next functional group are called ketones. These are calming to the tissues. They are soothing. They're particularly good with the skin of the body. Oils like dill, peppermint, rosemary, fennel, and lavender. They can help us with healthy respiratory response and can support normal digestion. We want to combine them with an aldehyde for respiratory effects. Things like clove and peppermint, or thyme and peppermint, can be terrific combinations for our healthy respiratory system. Our next functional group are esters. This is Dr. Hill's personal favorite group. He said that the esters he loves because they are profoundly esters, meaning basically that their effects, as you can see, can be very high. Oils like birch and wintergreen are high, super high in esters, sometimes as high as 99%, and so their effects are very pure. Think all things relaxing and soothing in the body. So just like when we thought with the phenols, we talked about targeted immune support and relief for joints. We're going to think about the esters for release and relaxing and soothing the body, especially muscle cramping. So oils like birch, wintergreen, Roman chamomile, clary sage, and lavender can be relaxing to the tissues, calming to the emotions, and great for targeted topical application for irritated skin. This is a great series of oils for ladies to use during their monthly cycle, and you want to try to think of these oils as sort of the targeted workers for relaxing and calming. I don't usually think, I have to be honest, I don't usually think of birch or wintergreen for calming the emotions, but maybe now I will. I have used Roman chamomile and lavender, certainly for emotions, and clary sage is well known to many of us, especially to the women listening in on this call. The last functional group we're going to talk about are called oxides. Oxides have to do with all things respiratory. They are cleansing to the environment, they promote feelings of clear breathing, support healthy respiratory function, and are calming to the tissues. Oils like eucalyptus, rosemary, cardamom, and peppermint. And these are the oils that we would find in Breathe, which is why they're blended here for such a great respiratory effect. You can mix these oils easily with citrus, terrific for diffusing, and for those of you who have worked with me in the past, you know that there is a blend that I made that was called actually Citrus Forest, that contains several of the oils that you see here on the left and a compendium of citrus oils. So the next, I want to talk to you now, if I can, about the wheel itself. Let's try to think of it a little bit differently. On the one side, as you can see, we have the monoterpene backbone, and I'm going to show you a more detailed view of the wheel in a moment. But I want you to look first to the left and see right there in the center the thing that says monoterpene backbone. And then around the center, you can see the functional groups: alcohols, esters, ketones, phenols, and aldehydes. And on the sesquiterpene side, you can see the same thing, the functional groups in a ring around the backbone. Each one of the rings is labeled on the back side. You can see it says functional group, chemical constituent name, essential oil, the name of the essential oil, and finally the shared property. And that's what makes this wheel so interesting and easy to use. So if we, so this is what the wheel looks like. Obviously, it's a front and back wheel. And now I'm actually going to flip and show you a more targeted version, because I think it's going to be easier for us in our, as we view a bigger version of the wheel. Here we go. Okay, so I'm actually going to look now, and you can, if I can pull this up a little further so you can see it. Make this a little bit bigger. Here we go. Okay, so we're going to find now on the wheel, I'm going to make sure that I'm in the right spot. Oops. Okay, we're going to look for, we're actually going to use patchouli as an example. So we're on the sesquiterpene side of the wheel, on the back side of the wheel, and we're going to use patchouli as an example. So here's patchouli. Patchouli is a sesquiterpene. It is in the alcohol functional group, and here it is. And it says that patchouli is stabilizing. So patchouli has a great metabolic potential and is long-lasting. If I look, I can also see ketones and alcohols are in the same stabilizing green wedge, if you will. So you see the ketones here. And what you're looking for is an alcohol. So an alcohol category means that they are clarifying. So you can, if you were to choose a patchouli, let's say, and you didn't get the same effect that you wanted, or you recommended perhaps patchouli to someone on your team or a friend or a family member, and they said, well, I don't really like patchouli, or it didn't work for me. Sometimes we become stumped or we start looking through books, but this is an easy way for us to begin to think of what else can they use. So in this particular case, if patchouli didn't work for them, you can also recommend cedarwood, vetiver, and sandalwood. And since the ketones and the alcohols have similar properties, and in this particular case, this other oil is actually also in the stabilizing category of the green, you could also recommend spikenard. So instead of having just one oil to recommend, you have 5 oils, and you get to be a little bit more intelligent, if you will, about how you can recognize oils. So now let's look at the monoterpene side, and let's look at the let's look here at the protecting and let's look at the protecting oils. So you're trying to keep your body healthy. You're trying to boost your immune system. You're looking specifically at oregano. Oregano is an oil that you're using to protect your immune system. But someone says, I hate oregano. It burns my stomach. It makes me unhappy. I don't like the taste. I don't like the smell. Sometimes I've heard people say, well, you have to use it because it's the best. Well, is it really the best, or is there something else that we could recommend? Certainly, if you're recommending a phenol, you could recommend to them thyme or clove, but you could also begin to recommend part of the aldehydes, some of the protecting aldehydes, things like cilantro, cumin, cassia, or cinnamon. And all of those oils would basically work in the same way within the body. And it may just be that their body chemistry is slightly different from yours. So I hope that this, taking a look at this wheel and also the presentation that I've done so far, helps you to understand a little bit how to use the wheel. Now, when I am going to ask for questions at the end, but I'm not going to ask for specific answers, we can actually keep this up, and I can see if I can call down the chat. Let me see if I can. Chat. There we go. Okay. Oh, thank you so much. I have a chat telling me that someone's on the wrong page. I know that. Okay, thank you. So let's talk a little bit about some of these, some of the oils. What are oils that you've used and you want to look up? So somebody give me, if you could shout out or you could type it in the chat, because I can't see you right now and I can't stop the share, otherwise we're not going to be able to look it up. Give me an example of an oil that you use on a regular basis and you'd like to be able to figure out something else that you could use. I'm going to take 3 people from the team. So if I could have 3 recommendations or 3 questions, and we're going to look them up together. So the first three that get on, you're the people that are going to get a look at the wheel. Ready, go. Type in the chat, please. Oh, someone says lavender. Okay, great. So where do we find lavender? Okay, so I'm looking at lavender, thyme. On Guard is a blend, so I'm not going to look at On Guard, but I am going to look at Melissa. So I'm going to look at lavender, thyme, and Melissa. So let's look first for lavender. So lavender is first of all, is lavender a monoterpene or a sesquiterpene? It's actually a monoterpene, and it's in the calming section, which makes sense. So look at the wheel around the edge. You might think it would be in soothing, right? But it actually is in the calming. And when we look here, we can see the calming section is actually kind of squished together, and that the calming section overlaps mostly esters, but some alcohols. On another call, we're going to talk a little bit about linalool and how important linalool is to functioning of the body. Oils that have linalool in them are lavender, petitgrain, clary sage, and bergamot. So if you're using lavender and you're not crazy about it, or you're trying to recommend it to someone and they're not crazy about it, consider looking at any of these oils. The other oils you might want to look at are Roman chamomile or the new jasmine roll-on. So look at how many oils. We've gone from 1, 2, 4, 6, 7 oils that you can now recommend to someone who's having difficulty with calming. So Sherhune, that was a great suggestion, because lavender is a big one that we use all the time. Now let's take a look at thyme oil. We looked at thyme oil a little bit. Thyme oil, oops, what did I do there? Thyme oil actually falls into the phenols and the alcohols. We saw it before. So we look up thyme oil. Thyme oil is in the protecting category, similar to oregano. It is a phenol. And now if we look just in the phenol category, we also have oregano and clove. But if we look at the whole protecting category, including the aldehydes, we can also look at cilantro, cumin, cassia, and cinnamon. So depending on what you're using that thyme oil for, and let's assume you're using it to keep yourself healthy on a regular basis, you can use, again, instead of 1 essential oil, you now have a choice of 7 that you can use that will all have similar effects. Now, I have to say, I don't love oregano oil. I know a lot of people do, but I do love cilantro, and I love cassia and cinnamon. I like cumin for certain things. I do like clove a lot. I tend to hold off my oregano until I'm absolutely deathly ill, because I really don't like it, and then I would mix it with thyme oil. But now maybe what I would do is I would try thyme oil and cilantro, or cilantro and cumin. So think about how different mixtures might work for you or somebody else in your team. Okay, last oil, Melissa. Now, do we know of Melissa as a monoterpene or sesquiterpene? We may not know just by taking a quick glance. Melissa actually falls into 2 categories because it is an aldehyde. It falls here as an aldehyde and is in the soothing category. So Melissa contains geraniol and nerol. If you were looking for something that was soothing, you could also look at lemongrass, black pepper, spearmint, or dill, again, containing limonene. These oils tend to have higher levels of limonene than other oils. The oils that have the largest amounts of limonene, of course, are our citrus oils. And we don't necessarily think of black pepper as having limonene, but it actually does. And it has limonene in quantities that are sufficient to make it soothing. So if that helps you a little bit, and I hope it does, and if you look here, if you look in the sesquiterpene category, Melissa also comes in as a sesquiterpene. I guess it depends what type of Melissa is being harvested and if it's used in a blend or not. And you can see here's the soothing category all over again. And you can look at things like myrrh, cedarwood, ginger, copaiba, the new copaiba, which we're going to be talking about next week, black pepper, or ylang ylang. So Sherhune, I know exactly what you're talking about, that lavender can be a little bit stinky. So I'm actually my award today is gonna go to Sherhune and Eunice Ma. Thank you to Sherhune and Eunice Ma. You will receive, Sherhune, you're going to get another oil that's on the wheel in the lavender and the calming category, and Eunice Ma, you're going to get another one in the Melissa category. So, the great question. Somebody just asked, how do I get this chart? Great question. Actually, I'm writing down names because you know me, I always forget my names. Whoops, here we go. Okay, how do you get this chart? If you go to Google and you type in new dōTERRA chemistry wheel, it will pop right up. And actually, some very interesting thing is that the company is actually coming up not just with wheels that you will be able to purchase, but with a little booklet that will go with the wheel to explain exactly all the monoterpenes versus sesquiterpenes and the functional groups as I explained them to you just now. So I know we covered a lot of information today. I don't know if you have any additional questions that you'd like to ask. I'm willing to take a few in the about the chart or about the functional groups. If you want to type in a couple of questions, I'll keep you on the line for another 2 minutes. I think we've covered a lot today. I'm also very pleased that I was actually able to get through this information. I have to say, I was a little bit nervous. Sherhune is telling everybody that it was in Aroma Tools, which is one of our partners, and that she saw it already. And Brenda Young says the new dōTERRA chemistry wheel chart. Yes, thank you very much, Brenda. We have a lot. Oh, thank you. And Melinda Queck is actually typing in. Does everybody see in the blog, can see the, let me move this over so you can see the link. You can actually copy the link or take a picture of the screen. And today's Zoom recording will be, I think it's going to be fairly large. So I may have to send it to Dropbox and then you can pick it up from Dropbox. If I can upload it to the page, I will, but I've been having trouble on Facebook with some of the larger presentations. So yes, today's Zoom recording will be made available. I hope this helped you. If you were at the convention, if you would give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, I would really appreciate it. I'm actually going to stop the share. There we go. So if you were at the convention, if you could give me a thumbs up. I try to be a mini Dr. Hill today. I don't know if I succeeded. If you saw Dr. Hill, you're probably saying, ah, that Elena, she did a crummy job. But if you weren't at convention and you haven't been able to see the playback, I hope that you got a lot of information today and that you really enjoyed learning a little bit more about the chemistry. I have to say, I struggled through chemistry to get a good grade. I remember going through tutoring and really sweating it out at the end of my junior year trying to get good grades in chemistry. So for those of you who struggled with chemistry, don't worry, it's gonna be okay. And for those of you who are excellent chemistry students, this is gonna be a cinch for you. So thank you again for being on the call. You're a wonderful audience today, and we'll be back again next week to talk about Siberian fir and copaiba. So I can't wait. Those are two amazing, amazing new oils. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful week. Bye-bye now.